It's time. November's here. The World Series just came and gone. And we are catching nice speckled trout on you know where. Stay tuned for this episode of DockSide TV. Shake that head. I'm noticing these fish are, whoa. Got a feisty one here. Woo, that's a good fish. Got him on the Holy Jolie on a 3/8 ounce matrix shad. But what I was saying is I get this fine fish right here. That's a trestle trout there. It's pretty much the size of the ones you catch. This is a really big fish for anywhere, but here on the trestle, this is just an everyday fish. But what I was saying was, I'm finding that a lot of these fish are right up on the bridge piling, on a fallen, we got a good fallen tide. So right now my boat's pretty far off the bridge just because I'm off the trolling motor. But once I get close up, once I get done putting this fish up, we're gonna butt that boat a little bit tighter to the bridge, and we're gonna make short casts, jig that deep 10 to 12 foot of water, catch some more of these big girls right here. Now right now we have a nice falling tide. I personally favor the east side of the bridge on a falling tide. I really like a falling tide in the fall. And I like to fish with my matrix shad on a 3/8 ounce jig head, fishing it back with the tide. Now there is certain instances to where I will be on the western end of the bridge, western side of the bridge, shall I say, by simply going under on a falling tide, but most of the time I like to start on this side. And this is rather redundant, as we've gone over this numerous times, but every year is a little bit different, you know. So every year we come out here, shoot another DockSide TV episode, and just try to give some good techniques on what's going on and what each year has to offer. Now right now we have crystal clear water. I'm looking at my lure right now. I can see about 2.5, 3 foot down, which is pretty clean. Switch to that Holy Jolie, seems to really be working. And this technique is pretty well known nowadays, but they call it all kinds of different things. The poncha train pop. You know, it's simply you're jigging on the bottom. It's the same technique for bass as jigging with a, you know, deep water with a jigging pig. The big curveball that hits you here is having to fish it in tide. So you got to play the tide. It's going to move your bait around, but the whole key is to keep contact with the bottom. I'm going to throw it out there. Watch my line. All right, so it hits the water. I keep just enough tension, and I'm going to look at the bow in my line. When it goes slack, that's on the bottom. So I don't do anything till it goes slack. We're waiting. Boom, it just went slack. That's when I'm going to begin my retrieve with a series of pops. Pop, 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 railing you slack. Wait till it hits the bottom again. Pop, 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 railing you slack. Felt like I had a little bite there. And you're going to do that 3 or 4 times till you get back to the boat. Now there's some days where the fish are way off the bridge. You just got to pay attention to that. Today they've been tight to the bridge, so the second half of that cast is almost a dead cast. So I'm simply railing it in, getting it back to the next bridge piling. Now what you want to do is throw it right in front of the bridge pilings on the trestle, If you try to sneak it underneath the bridge, you're gonna get snagged a lot more. Typically we're fishing right in front of the bridge. See if we can get a few more fish, but we like to pop it pretty hard. There he is. That's a good one. Come up and shake that head. Another nice one on the Holy Jolie. As we get into this time of the year, this is the quality of fish that you're going to see out here. This bridge and all three of these bridges, this isn't known as fast action. This is very tedious fishing. You got to pay close attention. It's a grind. But 10 of these, I'll take this any day of the week over 50 little school trout. Oh, that's a good fish. Now there's a couple of things that you want to look for when you fish in the fall in an eastern Lake Pontchartrain. Number one, when you're trying to decide which section of the trestle to fish or any of the bridges, if you're ever going up and down the bridge and you're starting to see the loons congregating in a certain area, that's without a doubt. That means that there's a lot of bait there, and it seems like the loons and the speckled trout feed on the same style of bait fish. 95% of the time, anytime we see the loons in a certain area, this big specks are going to be right behind it. So pay attention to the loons. The other thing, as we saw today, is we were catching a couple of redfish up and along the bridges, which that's a good sign. You know, the bridges aren't really known for a hot spot for red fishing, but when I'm in the fall, when we're catching a few, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled throughout the entire fall for birds diving on shrimp. I'm sure that's going to happen here shortly. In any given day now, we're going to start seeing flocks of birds diving on shrimp, and most of the time, that's big, beautiful slot reds working up underneath the birds. So we're catching a few on the bridge already, so be on the lookout for the shrimp diving also. Right up tight to the piling, right where I like them. Got a nice hard falling tide right now. These fish are staging right up on the bridge piling. A little rat red here. That one kind of fooled me. Well, most of the trout have been in the same exact spot. Right on that first bridge piling. Right off the first pop. Oh yeah, good fish. Oh yeah. Now what you're looking for when you know it's time to come out here fish the trestle, give it a look in the fall time. So whenever temperatures are going from that 80-degree summertime pattern, the water temperatures, the moment they start dipping into the 60s, it's time. And what I notice most of the days that I'm out here, especially in the fall, winter, when I grab a trout, he's cold. And that tells me that that's when they start using that concrete to their advantage of ambushing, you know, their prey and smaller fish, and that's the time to do it. So now's the time, guys, and remember, every year's the same. It's gonna be somewhere between mid-October to mid-November. They're gonna stage up on these 3 bridges, and they're gonna stay here all through the winter until it gets too cold. If we have a very mild winter, they're never gonna leave. We're gonna catch them all the way through until that April, May, spring run. So make sure to check out all of our DockSide TV episodes on fishing a trestle. Simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then to check out all these Lake Pontchartrain videos on bridge fishing, just simply search DockSide TV, bridges or trestle, causeway, and get in on all of the tips and techniques on how to catch these beautiful trout. Until next time, good fishing. Make sure to stay up to date with all of our DockSide TV episodes. Simply hit the subscribe button right here on your YouTube channel. Stay up to date with all of the action going on around the surrounding areas as we catch multiple species of fish, from trout to bass to redfish, flounder, and even crappie. Make sure to hit the post notification button also, which will allow you to know when our next and freshest DockSide TV episodes are uploaded.